What's going on? Let's do this shit. It's Monday. It's Monday Night Football, and I'm being for real. I love these kind of games because I've seen numerous people talking, and everybody is convinced that the Jags are unstoppable. They've been playing great. Their offense is god level. The Bengals are, of course, without Joe Burrow. They suck against tight ends. They suck against the run. They could never do good. Or they could. I love these games. I'm all for it. What's up, new guy? My name's James, better known as the Degenerate75. I'm a DFS content creator who is here to help you get a little bit better at DFS. Because if you don't know, I got a little secret that I haven't told a lot of people. This shit be real tough, okay? And if you're tired of losing money, well, it's probably because you're stepping on your own dick, doing a lot of things wrong. And I'm going to help you with that because here I focus on the process and not on my picks and plays. If you want that, there's like 9 million other YouTube shows. Go fucking watch them. If you find you like the cut of my jib, hang around for the next 25 minutes. If you really like it, check out that schedule right there, you motherfather. I do the show every Monday and Thursday. I do a preview show with Tambo every Tuesday, and I do my NFL live stream Saturday night at 7 o'clock in the Lord's time zone, okay? College football's done for the season. PGA is done for the season. I'm an NFL tryhard till 2024. Let's get going. I'm going to turn on my fan because I can already tell this coffee's getting me all fired up. The fan is on. That's my number one fan over there, okay? Hey, make sure you're hitting that like button over there for me. For every 50 likes, I will do a drawing to get you in to build a lineup with me. Turn off my light. It's going to start baking in here. Jesus, I did not come prepared, okay? I was like at the gym, and like I had to rush to get home. So if for every 50 likes, we will draw from the chat, ask up to 2 questions, and we will build a lineup together. We had one finish in the top 1,000 in the Millionaire Maker this weekend, which doesn't sound good until you realize that's like in the 99.5 percentile. So I need to reach out to that guy, by the way. Okay, so there you go. Hit the like. Don't be a donkey dick. Hey, let's talk about props. If you don't know, the big guy is really leaning into props. We've been doing very, very well. We are still sitting at about 65% on these props. I put them out every show. We finally had a losing prop bet. We went 1-2, but we're right back. We're right back at it. And whenever you've stashed up a lot of really good slates, you can afford to have a 1-2, right? So, by the way, this will be coming to my site if you're a prop bet person, I'm really starting to get into prop bets myself. They're just a fun little dabble over here, right? And I see these other sites charging like hundreds of dollars. I'm going to charge you less than $10 because that's how much it takes for me to basically use my projections and then just go find weakness in the lines that Vegas is putting out or in the price picks, underdog, and then share them with you guys. So I'm just priming you guys right now, right? I'm pumping that little button and then I'm going to go before I start you up in 2024, okay? So that was a lawnmower for all of you that didn't get the fucking reference. Okay, very, very old lawnmower apparently. 3 bets we like tonight. Tyler Boyd under 31.5 receiving yards. As you'll see today, I'm pretty warm to the old Bengals, right? Everybody's like, okay, well, you do that, okay? I'll go the other way. But Tyler Boyd is a guy that has kind of gotten lost in the shuffle, right? And with T. Higgins being back, we know what's going to happen to Tyler Boyd. His ass going to go incognito mode. I am projecting probably about 3 targets for him, 2 catches, and he doesn't get those high A-dot passes. We're taking the under on 31.5 receiving yards from Tyler Boyd today. Dearness Johnson over 19.5 rushing yards. If you are buying the narrative, this is an important caveat here. If you are buying the narrative that the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be playing from ahead, I think you're going to see a steady dose of Dearness Johnson tonight, right? I think it's really going to be him just running right up the guard's ass, right? They don't always try to get him the ball in space. They like to kind of grind him a little bit and then let ETN get in space. So if you think the Jags are going to be playing from ahead, I love Dearness Johnson over 19.5 rushing yards. And the last one, Trevor Lawrence under 1.5 passing touchdowns? What the hell? This is actually a plus money bet on a lot of sites. But if Jacksonville's playing from ahead, we have seen that Trevor Lawrence, who the fuck is Travis Lawrence? Trevor Lawrence does his, I know what I did. I confused ETN because there's a Travis and Trevor ETN. Go watch a Florida Gator game. When the Jags are playing from ahead, they get milquetoast. Okay, they get very plain, and when they do, he doesn't chunk the ball all over the field. So once again, a caveat: if you think Jacksonville is going to control this game, you're probably going to see a pretty milquetoast game plan from them, and he will not be slinging it all over the field. And in that, I will take the under on 1.5 passing touchdowns. I think everybody else smashed the over, but let's face it, everybody bets overs on prop bets. But if you don't know, there actually is a mathematical advantage to betting the unders. Okay. So there you go. That is some prop bets. Hey, Hey, new guys, not new guys. I want you. It's 2024 is upon us, and I have got to get shit in order. December is a big month over at DGen 75 because I have got to get all my shit planned for 2024, and we are looking to bring people on. I brought on a bunch of people in 2023, looking to bring on some more people in 2024. Number one, if you are a financial consultant, reach out to me. I need some financial consulting, and in exchange, I will hook you up. So if that interests you, reach out to support at DGen 75 or the editor's email is in the link of this. And if you're a financial planner out there and you're like, hey man, I like your shit, I want to help you. Well, I want to help you too, and we can help each other. I'm also going to be adding NASCAR. So if you are somebody who is an expert at NASCAR DFS and you want to be a part of my team, also reach out for that, and we'll see if we'll give you an interview. And lastly, if you are a high-level PGA DFS player, I would like to have somebody else along on my team for PGA DFS. If you don't know, it's just always been me. I will, you better be real impressive because I don't trust anybody with my PGA DFS shit. But if you feel like you're one of those people who was like me, who was hiding in the shadows for like 5 years, this high-limit player that nobody knew about who was having success, if that's you, reach out to me, and we will see about maybe adding you onto the PGA team. So help the wanted. Help Ron out, you mother fathers. Or, if that's not you, if you're none of those three, maybe you know somebody, okay? All right. Let's get over to Zero Stone. Okay, this is the tool I offer to all my members. Yes, of course, they get the fancy, pretty colored up one, but this is the YouTube show, okay? So you're going to get what the fuck I give you, all right? A couple things to note, right? Before we even get into the players, this is the problem I see with every Showdown show when they're doing NFL. What do they all do? They just start talking about the plays and the players and the plays and the players. And there's three things that you could do that are far more important than any fucking player you pick. Any player on there is not as important as these three things. No, I didn't even do contest selection. You know contest selection by now. Whatever. Editor, why is contest selection not on the list of tabs, you donkey? So here you go. Number one, coming up with a game script. Nailing this game script is more important than any individual player. Well, I have a feeling about Trenton Irwin. Okay, well, that's fine. You can play Trenton Irwin, but that is not near as important as just the game script. Okay, that's number one. Number two, roster composition. You're going to spend all this time being like, maybe I should play T. Higgins. That's not near as important as just like thinking, how do I want my lineup constructed? Do I want to have 5 Jaguars and 1 Bengal, 4 Jags and 2 Bengals, right? That roster composition is so much more important than any individual play. So if you're spending all your times on these shows just getting that play and that pick, you're missing the point, Bob. And the third one, and this is the one that people don't spend enough time on, nail your captain. The captain is the most important person. And what everybody's going to do is they're going to go put the best player at captain. But what I want you to do when you're thinking about captain is think about who can be that low-owned guy. Now, I'm not talking low-owned like Evan McPherson slapdick kicker, okay? I'm talking like a star who is going to be lower-owned, right? Like a perfect example would be like anytime the Eagles play, Devonta Smith is always at the top of my list of captains. Anytime the 49ers play, Debo is always criminally under-owned at the captain spot, right? So trying to identify those good players, the guys who are always on the field and have those big upside games, getting those guys in your captain spot and how you can get leverage on the captain spot. Like, I haven't looked at the numbers yet, but I'm going to imagine Jamar Chase is just going to be an absolute criminally under-owned at the captain spot tonight, right? Doing those three things are so much more important than I'm going to play Dearness Johnson. That's like you're missing the point. Yes, having the right players in a lineup is important, but it's not as important as those first three things that I've already mentioned. So focus on that, and that's where we're going to start. All right, number one, the line is what, 9.5 point line. Jacksonville at home against the Bungles. We got the without Joe Burrow. This is like we're like back to the 1990 Bengals, right? They're just the Bungles. So here's what I'll tell you, okay? There's no way Cincinnati could do well today, right? They've since Jake Browning's been in there, at best he has looked pedestrian. That's at best, right? At worst he has looked putrid, and they suck. They have no chance. They're playing at Jacksonville. Jacksonville's actually good this year. Jacksonville has an efficient offense. Jacksonville's playing solid defense. Cincinnati has no chance tonight. Or they do. It's the NFL, and the difference between these teams, even when you have a slapdick quarterback like Jake Browning, is about that much. And so everybody tonight is going to be building these 5-1, 4-2 Jacksonville onslaughts, and they're going to be playing that Jacksonville is just going to completely control this game. Ask yourself this. What percentage of the time do you see that Cincinnati either A, keeps this game highly competitive, or B, wins this game, right? We just saw this on the slate last week, right? What was the game? Everybody was like, oh, no, this is definitely how it's going to happen. Didn't happen. What the hell was that game? I don't even remember the game from last week. So these teams, you cannot just assume that one team is going to beat the shit out of the other. They are professional football teams, and they both have good football players. And if like legit 70 or 80% of lineups are going to say that Jacksonville's going to beat the shit out of them, but you think it's more like a 60-40 proposition, then you should probably lean into the Bengals and go with that narrative. Another one that I think that you should consider, that no one is going to consider, is what happens if this game's a shootout, right? No one is going to play the shootout with these two sloggy type teams, right? Yes, okay, I know Jacksonville has a good offense, but they're not particularly fast, right? They're not the fastest team, and when they get ahead, they are really not fast. So here's what I'll say. What happens if it just turns into like a 28-24 game, 28-27, something like that? Nobody is going to be on a build like that. And that right there can have you building your lineup a lot different. Hell, you could go with a 3-3 build and be building very different because you could grab both quarterbacks and 2 pass catchers, right? Or both quarterbacks, 3 pass catchers, and maybe a pass-catching running back or something like that, right? So those guys, thank you, WeZoom. It was Seattle and the Cowboys, right? Seattle could never do good against the Cowboys, or they could. Okay, I hate when people think that, like, this ain't college football, all right? Like, there's some teams that have no chance against the other. In the NFL, everybody has a chance against everybody. Thank you, WeZoom. You the man. That would be my second point. Is there a narrative out there that you could see happening that nobody's going to be on? And my favorite one is that Cincinnati actually comes to play tonight offensively, and this game shoots out. Or Cincinnati comes and plays some mean defense, and this game is just an absolute slog, and they slow down Jacksonville. Because I think most people are just going to play the Jacksonville wins this game 24-14 narrative, right? And it's going to be a 4-2, 5-1 Jacksonville build, whatever slapdick Cincinnati guy gets in there. But I'm telling you, there is a path to playing 4-2 Bengals, 3-3 Bengals with a Bengal at the captain, and to play Jake Browning with 2 pass catchers, right? Don't forget, the last game, he actually had a pulse. I know he only had 12 points, but he was completing the forward pass. And don't forget, Cincinnati does have T. Higgins back tonight, which T. Higgins is never going to make you worse, okay? So there you go. That's the narrative. The next thing I think we need to consider is roster composition. As I've already told you, the most common build tonight will almost certainly be a 4-2 Jacksonville build, then probably 3-3 builds with a Jacksonville at captain, and then probably the third most common one will be 5-1 Jacksonville onslaughts tonight, right? And with a solo run back of probably either Joe Mixon or one of the receivers or maybe the kicker, right? Those will be very, very popular builds tonight, probably consisting of about 15 to 20% of lineups will be built that way. So right off the hop, if you want to get different, be open to 3-3 builds with a Jacksonville at the captain. If you really want to get different, go 4-2 with a Jacksonville at the captain. And if you're a filthy animal, go 5-1 with Jacksonville at the captain. I will say a 5-1 with Jacksonville at the captain is you basically are getting to the point where you're going to be about only 2% of people will build lineups that way, maybe even as little as 1%. But here's what I will tell you. I don't know that you need to do that in a $100 single entry, right? I like those really weird slimy builds in 10,000, 20,000 person fields. So if you do hit that really, really rare narrative, at least you're getting paid dividends by having a better build than thousands and thousands and thousands of lineups, right? The last thing we're going to talk about, as I told you, the 3 most important things. Where is the leverage at captain, okay? And the answer is almost going to entirely be around the Bengals, right? Bengals will probably only be owned in the captain spot about in 30% of lineups. About 70% of lineups will run a Jacksonville Jaguar as the captain. So if you can find somebody from Cincinnati that you think has that big upside, and you're not afraid to go down in flames. To me, that's the key. Whenever I play my captain, I'm ready to burn, baby. Okay, because if you play Joe Mixon at the captain, yes, he can go for 28 points tonight, definitively. But you know Joe Mixon always has a 6-burger in him, right? He can always be that guy. Same thing with T. Higgins. T. Higgins will have 26 points tonight, or he will have 5.2. That's all that motherfather knows how to do. So when you play these guys at captain, you got to be willing to realize that you're playing a GPP and that, like, you got to be ready to go down in flames because there's a good chance your captain ain't going to do dick, okay? But at the same time, guys like Joe Mixon, T. Higgins, guys like this, probably even Jamar Chase and Jake Browning, right? I'd say all 4 of the big Cincinnati guys are all really good leverage plays at the captain spot tonight if you think that Cincinnati is going to keep this game competitive or this game's going to shoot out. From the Jacksonville side, I would say there's probably only going to be one really good leverage play at the captain, and that's probably going to be Calvin Ridley, right? He is definitively not the number 1 wide receiver anymore. That is that is Christian Kirk. And he's $3,000 more expensive than Evan Ingram, which people are going to be smashing the shit out of tonight. So really the only big leverage play that I see from Jacksonville, a guy who has high upside but will also be low owned, which is what we're looking for at captain leverage, I think is going to be Calvin Ridley, right? And maybe to a lesser extent, Travis Etienne, right? And the only reason I say him is because he's above that $10,000 threshold, and no one really still thinks of him as an elite running back, and he's been a little banged up, although we are expecting him and T. Higgins to play tonight. So there you go. I've focused on the big three things, right? The big three things. Roster composition, the game script, and leverage at captain. You got to focus on those three things. All right, getting through the game, let's talk about all these positions. Then I'll answer your questions. Make sure you can ask up to 2, you motherfathers. Let me get a swig of the cold brew. 115 people, 66 likes. That means we have 49 slapdicks in here. No slapdicks allowed. All right, right when I said that, like 3 of them dropped. Slappies. Okay. Going through this, Jake Browning, obviously Joe Burrow's been out. Jake Browning is now going to be playing in his 3rd week, and he has been getting slightly better. He is under $9,000, and he is going to be lower owned, right? I mean, no quarterback's ever going to be low owned. You're not going to get him at 20%, but for a quarterback, you know, a guy who touches the ball every play, you probably are going to get him at a pretty discounted ownership, right? Especially with the narrative that everybody's pushing. I will say this. I don't think Jake Browning's a very good quarterback. I don't. Okay, hot fucking take from me, right? But here's what I can tell you. He has really good weapons all around him, right? And I think Cincinnati's going to have a little bit of YOLO in him tonight, right? They're going to say, we don't give a shit, right? Because their season's over. They ain't going nowhere without Joe Burrow. So I think you could see maybe him pass as many times as 40 times tonight. I think he's going to be just chunking that ball around the field, bub. At running back, Joe Mixon down to 7,000 just seems like a big old value, right? Joe Mixon sucks, right? I know. He went to my Sooners. I love Joe Mixon, but he kind of sucks. He's really inefficient. But at $7,000, if the Bengals are going to be competitive, the dude's always on the field, right? If they score 24 or 28 points tonight and have 400 yards of offense, he'll accidentally get to 15 points. Accidentally. He still catches the ball out of the backfield. You know, like he could still get there. So I don't mind him also. The backup, like Chase Brown, Travion Williams, I guess they're okay punts, but it's just, I'm telling you, Joe Mixon is literally on the field like 80% of the game. At wide receiver, Jamar Chase at 9,400. I cannot believe Jamar Chase is under 10,000 and nobody's going to want to play him. He is still an alpha. He is still good. And if you buy it all that Cincinnati is going to have a pulse tonight, I don't see any way they have a good game. And Jamar Chase or T. Higgins, one of those two does not have a big game, right? One of those two is going to have a big game tonight if you buy the narrative that the Bengals are going to have a functional offense tonight, which, by the way, is a narrative because it's just as likely, if not more likely, that they'll suck balls tonight, okay? So one of those two guys just seems prime for a big game. Guys like Tyler Boyd, we see a big dip in his production when T. Higgins comes back. So as you already saw with the prop bets, especially at 5,600, I'm pretty cold on him. Trenton Irwin and old Ilyasovich are almost unplayable at this point because they're just never on the field. I don't think we're going to see very many 4 wide receiver sets from the Bengals tonight because the Bengals love to use their tight ends. And at tight end, it seems as though even though we have Irv Smith Jr. back, it seems Tanner Hudson has really taken over that tight end spot. He's pretty damn good if you watch him, right? Matter of fact, I think I like Drew Sample more than I like Irv Smith Jr., right? But I think Tanner Hudson is the dude. He has been okay since Browning has taken over, and more than anything, he gets the most routes and he gets the most targets, and those are the things we really give a shit about. So if you're wanting to double stack Browning, I think you have endless options to stack him with. Hudson, Higgins, Chase, Mixon, all of those guys make sense. You could even go with a punt Drew Sample. Their kicker, look, the kicker could be fine, right? There is a good chance Cincinnati moves the ball and stalls out in the red zone a lot. They have a shitty quarterback, and so maybe McPherson's the guy, right? I think McPherson, though, be careful. If you're going to run a 5-1 Jacksonville onslaught, McPherson will probably be a very popular run back. And if you want the person from the Bengals nobody's going to play, it's going to be their defense, right? Nobody likes to play road defenses that are big underdogs, right? How do they ever get there? But you know how luck-sacky pick sixes and stuff like that are. Anybody who acts like you can predict pick sixes needs to go smash their head into a wall because they're full of shit. The Bengals defense, I don't think they're a great play tonight. If this game's a shootout, they're probably not getting there. If this game is, the Jacksonville playing, from ahead 7 to 10 points, that's also not a great script from them. But to just say that there's no script in which they get there is nonsensical. I think they will be under 10% owned, and defenses always have that 18-point upside. Block a punt and return it to the house, some silly shit like that, right? For Jacksonville, I mean, what do you want to say? They have a nice total, 24 points. They're at home. They have a lot to play for. They have all their weapons. I mean, they're going to smash, right? Probably, but maybe not. Trevor Lawrence has been really, really good over the past several weeks. He's completing nearly 70% of his passes. He looks like the old Trevor Lawrence. He's actually putting up good fantasy points. There for a long time, it was like his ceiling was 18 points, right? But I got to tell you, there is a path to, if they get ahead, he just becomes very milquetoast. That's my biggest concern. If this game's 28-24, I will guarantee you Trevor Lawrence will have a good game. If this game is 24-10, I'm not going to guarantee you that. I could literally see them running in 2 touchdowns. He throws one to some slapdick you've never heard of. He gets you 13 points, and that ain't going to be good enough at 10,800, Bob. So Trevor Lawrence, to me, is a guy you got to be particularly aware of the game script. I think that he's only viable in the right game script. If you think Jacksonville's going to rush out ahead, you better get very lucky with his touchdown variance. If they're up 21-3 in the third quarter, you better hope Trevor Lawrence is throwing all 3 of those touchdowns, or maybe ran one in. At running back, Travis Etienne is going to play. He could be limited. I've seen nothing to suggest that he will be. I think you're going to see him on the field 70-75% of the time like we see. Tank Bigsby, we now know is a fraud. So I like Dearness Johnson really starting to take over that second running back spot because he has a little thing that Tank Bigsby doesn't, called he doesn't suck balls. So there is that to consider. And then at wide receiver, look, I know Calvin Ridley has his big games, and Calvin Ridley I already told you, I think is the best leverage captain for Jacksonville tonight. But if you made me bet who's going to have a better game, Kirk or Ridley, I will take Kirk every time. He is definitively the number 1 receiver. He is a better wide receiver than Ridley. He gets better targets. He gets safer targets. And you know what? He's just better than him. He's just a better football player, okay? So Kirk is good, but we're not the only ones that know that. So because he's good and he's $1,000 cheaper than Ridley, he will be significantly higher owned. So you have to ask yourself, at what point do I just play that Ridley will outscore him roughly 1 out of every 3 times? Zay Jones is back. Zay Jones is a dude who's always on the field. Zay Jones does have good chemistry with Trevor Lawrence, and at 5,200, I don't think he will be wildly popular, right? He's not an easy guy to be the 4th or 5th guy in your lineup because he still costs right at average salary, right? Tim Jones and Parker Washington, whatever. If you want to consider some punt wide receivers, Jacksonville, I'm out. But where I think everybody's going to land tonight and where I really want to go is Evan Ingram. If you do not know, the Bengals are terrible against tight ends. Evan Ingram has been good all season, but has not had that great game. And you know Evan Ingram always has a monster game. I think if I'm playing Evan Ingram, if I play Evan Ingram, I'm not playing him in the flex because he is going to be so high owned in the flex that you're really not, the juice isn't worth the squeeze, so to speak. If I'm playing Evan Ingram, I am buying the narrative that Evan Ingram is one of those guys who's going to get me 8 points or he's going to get me 27. Those are like his 2 things that he seems to do. And so because of that, I really would like Evan Ingram if I'm going to play him as my captain, right? If he catches a touchdown or 2, he is a guy that will almost certainly break the slate, right? So with that, and at 6,200, he really allows you some creativity with the rest of your lineup. So one way to use Evan Ingram and not use him the same way that everybody else is play him at captain and don't play him in the flex like everybody else does. I'm not really considering the other tight ends. If you want to punt, go ahead. Whatever. But I will say at home, kickers and defenses just statistically do better, right? You are having to pay an upgrade to McManus and the Jaguars defense, but here's what I will tell you. At home, they're more likely to get more opportunities. Furthermore, if you believe that Jacksonville's going to move the ball but is not going to be efficient in the red zone, then I think Brandon McManus becomes a really good play. If you think Jacksonville is going to be scoring every time they're in the red zone, then there's no way you pay $5,000 for a kicker. Lastly, Jacksonville's defense is going to be crazy popular tonight, but I will warn you that playing super popular defenses, if you think that Browning is going to at least take care of the ball, there is a chance that Jags defense just gets like 6 points, right? Or if you think that the Bengals are going to have efficiency on offense tonight, or it's going to be a shootout, Jacksonville could get there with a lucky pick 6 or something like that, or a bunch of sacks, but I would say they're more likely to not get there in that, right? The one where you want Jacksonville, the script where you want Jacksonville's defense is Jacksonville jumps up early, they're playing from ahead, and now Cincinnati's behind, throwing the ball every play. Jacksonville knows they're throwing the ball, so they're jumping routes, they're pinning their ears back and sacking the quarterback. That's the script you want Jaguars defense in, okay? There you go. That is the script. Let's get to some questions. Editor, I see 87 likes. Why don't you go ahead and draw me a name right now, and if we get to 100 likes, we'll do another one, okay? Hey, guys, I'm telling you, come check out DGen75. Here in December, I'm going to be giving away over $5,000 to my members. They're going to bust out the old Santa hat. Look, wait, I got it right over here. Look, the Santa hat is coming out. Get over there. I'm going to be giving away free years of NFL, PGA, All Access, Big Guy, lineups with me. all kinds of shit. You just got to be a member in December, so I encourage you to come check it out. We have the weekly. We have the monthly. You won't regret it. It is a great time to be over there. We're doing NFL all month. We're doing college football. We have the Rosetta Stone for every single slate. We have a whole bunch of winners. Can't wait to see the new one tomorrow. Guys just hitting, flying the flag. It's a special community. It's not like the other ones. We're not like those slapdick tout sites. If you've ever wanted to try it out, simply just go sign up for the newsletter, right? You sign up for the newsletter, and I'll give you a free week. You just let support DGen75 know. They'll get you hooked up. And guys, don't forget, if you want to be a part of the team, there's 3 guys I need. If you're a financial consultant, that's what you do for a living, and you want to offer me some services, I got something for you. On the reverse, I also am going to be adding NASCAR. If you are very experienced at NASCAR DFS and you want to be a part of the team, reach out. Let's talk. And lastly, and by the way, if you're like, why don't you just go get people from the industry? Because I don't fucking want people from the industry. It's pretty simple. All right. I want to get new people I want to find people like me who just exist out there and nobody knows who they are until they do. And then lastly, don't forget, if you are a really experienced high-level PGA DFS player and you want to be a part of the team, the most exclusive team out there, because I don't let anybody do this shit with me, also reach out. The editor is putting it right now in the chat. You can reach out to us on Twitter or via email if you're an old. I get it. I'm an old too, brother. All right. It looks like Mr. Petrini won the drawing. Okay, all right. Very good for Mr. Petrini. Okay, all right. Hey, and once we get 5 more likes, we will do another one. So don't worry. Keep asking those questions because there will be another drawing. Guys, don't forget at the top of the hour, my dudes over at Ship It, that's Tambo, that's Title, and that's Hoop, will be breaking down the Monday Night Football slate. So go over there and check them out at the top of the hour if you are not burnt out from listening to my ass high on cold brew talking about this game so far. All right. I'm going to keep talking, answering some questions, sweating like a whore in church. What is going on here? Jeez Louise. All right. Let's get over to the chat. Editor, when you see 100 likes, you just go ahead and you do it, all right? If I don't see a question mark, I'm not answering. Tweezy says, do you think this is going to be a slog game? I actually think my favorite narrative, Tweezy, is if you made me bet, I think the Bengals are going to be sneaky competitive tonight. I would, if I were betting, I would definitively take the Bengals, and I would probably take the over, weirdly enough. That's what I do. Matter of fact, I might even bet that. I'm feeling kind of spicy, Tweezy. I think you and your questions get me all fired up. Is 3-3, if going 3-3, will it be different enough with a Cincy at captain? I think so. I think 3-3 builds with Cincy captains will be quite a bit different because almost every Cincy captain is going to be pretty leveraged tonight, right? So that's what I would say. I don't mind it. Normally, I'm not a 3-3 build kind of guy, but I really like it tonight, Recluche, because I think you were going to – this is going to be one of the bigger slants you've seen all year from everybody leaning towards one team versus the other, right? Ready for some football? I am, you mother father. All right, Mr. Slovakia. Do people overreact to Thursday night and Sunday night football and go too far in on the Bengals? I don't think so, Matt. I think that people just live in this moment. They see Jake Browning as the quarterback. They see how well Jacksonville has been playing. They're going to – I feel very confident looking at our early ownership projections that it is going to be a heavy lean towards Jacksonville. But I will say, if you go look at ownership, something is going on in NFL DFS this year. Everybody's ownership projections are just hot garbage. I mean, the guys are just coming in so much more different than people are projecting. I don't know if that's like The Sims or what the fuck ever, but like at PGA, I'm never far off. But at NFL, like I'll legit be 20% off on guys, and it's not just me, it's everybody in the industry. And I'm like, what the fuck's happening here, right? Like something is happening in the industry this year where NFL ownership is getting brutally hard to predict. So maybe I'm going to be wrong again tonight. 4-2 Bungles. Let's fucking go. I ain't scared of finishing last. I ain't. Let's go. Nick knows how to do it. Would Zay Jones at captain be too cute? No, I don't think so. I think Zay Jones is a guy that gets a decent amount of red zone targets. He clearly has a chemistry with Trevor Lawrence. And you know what? He's actually a pretty good football player. I think Zay Jones is the lowest guy I would go with at captain, though. Okay? There's nobody else on this slate that's cheaper than him that I would consider Snoop-a-Loop. All right, Jordan White, in what scenario would you play a 5-1 build with the captain as the top pass catcher from the opposite team? In what scenario? Oh, yeah, so like, look, if you want to go 5-1 Jacksonville and you want to go with the captain that's from Cincinnati, you're just going to have to go with the usage monster. And I think there's really only 3 guys that I would be up for consideration as usage monsters. That would be Mixon, Chase, or Higgins, right? One of those guys could be the solo usage monster for the Bengals, right? That's what I would say. Thanks for the Rosetta Stone. I finished first and second in the big $20 college football contest on Saturday. Bro, go put that in the frickin' screenshot, you mother father. First and second in the big $20? Damn, dude. You need to send that to the editor. That's crazy, man, you mother father. Hey, man, we work really hard at college football. I can't believe more people won't play college football. I think it's just because some states don't allow it. but man, it's fun. Do you like Ingram at captain or too chalky? I think that's the only way I like him. Jake, Shotgun Browning looking like a massive captain leverage. I agree. I think he is. Just be ready for him to blow up in your face, all right? He's not a good quarterback, but not good quarterbacks can have one good game. Editor, don't forget to do the drawing, you mother father. Let's see. Nate D. Let's go, Nate. Hope that's not Nate Diaz. Guy whooped my ass. All right. Moving on. Golly, this mouse, editor. There's about to be one kick of the dick. All right, what's your favorite way to get different tonight? Looks quite Cham Jock guys in. Just a 3-3 with a Cincinnati captain. That's my favorite way. I refuse to play defenses and kickers. When will I survive a primetime game? Tonight when it's 28-27? Oh no, it's going to be 30-20 or 30-28. Last second field goal, they win, and then a kicker still gets there. Sorry. Do you think that you have a Captain Lawrence if he's playing both Ridley and Kirk? No, I don't think so. At that price tag, he could still be a flex guy. Remember, wide receivers can really outpace quarterbacks whenever they get a lot of catches and a touchdown. It really helps them outpace quarterbacks. Even when I'm thinking about being different, playing a quarterback at captain, they have a good game. Jerry, when all things are equal, I prefer my wide receivers at captain over the quarterbacks, right? The quarterbacks almost have to run one in to usually get there as a captain. Or have to throw 4 touchdowns and spread it out to everybody. When playing cash, do you pay attention to ownership? I do not. I don't think you should at all. You just get the best plays and their best points per dollar, guys. Dearness Johnson, captain. Nick, I think that's too cute, but I guess in the right script it could. If you lost a few grand to Chris Jones stats shaving, would you let it slide or would you start a class action lawsuit? I wouldn't start the class action lawsuit, but I'd sign up for it. Did I miss some news or something? What the fuck is that question about? Higgins or Chase as a fade, and then use the other as a captain for a 4-2 Cincinnati build. I think both of those are very viable, and so is the 4-2. I don't think I can get to a 5-1 Bengals. It just seems too cute to me. Ross K, is it always under, never over? My grandfather always told me that. Never understood why. Is it under? Yeah, I will tell you that unders actually hit more frequently than overs do at prop bets, and that's how you can know if somebody's a fraud. They just always take the overs on everything, and that's because they're betting with their heart and not with the stats. LSU and D-Jim for the PGA team. I could not. I love Nick, but that would drive me nuts. All right, Jags have been giving up 30-point DraftKings points per game to the slot receiver since week 9. Boyd excels on the slot. Any chance you flip the narrative and has a strong game? Sure. I look. Don't let what I'm simply just going off the projections, and that is why I gave Boyd on the under. I think Boyd at 5,600 is going to be very, very, very low owned. So if you like it, Doug, I say go with it, brother. Came in a bit late. What's the weather looking like tonight? You know what? I didn't even look at that. If you can't tell, the big guy didn't have his tabs ready. NFL weather. Let's see. The game tonight. What do we got? Jacksonville, mostly cloudy, 7 miles an hour. So, real nice. How nice? Oh, real nice. How do you choose a good captain for a single entry? So to me, I've already answered this. I look at guys that could have big games, like the guys who have those spike type weeks, and then I look at who's going to be low owned. Okay. Ingram or Zay Jones for captain? I think they're both viable. Although I will say Zay Jones will be quite a bit lower owned in the captain spot than Ingram, if that's any consideration to you. Is it ever an Ingram touchdown day? I would bet that he has a touchdown. It just feels like an Ingram day, but that's nothing more than a feeling. Is a 5-1 stack in Showdown with one being the captain spot ever a viable option? It can be, but it's super rare. I've won a GPP doing that before, but the one run back I had was Christian McCaffrey. So I was like, he was such a usage monster, you could get away with it. I like the cut of your jib. All right. I don't know. Oh, will Trevor be Nick's cheating with the question marks, editor. Will Trevor be better than Travis? I mean, maybe. I think they're about the same guy. If you actually watch him, he's pretty good. Did Florida State get hosed beyond? I mean, it's just such a joke. Don't even get me started. I was tilting nuts over that yesterday on the Big Guy chat. Let's see. Nick just chatting with everybody. Jake Browning captain. Seems like, I don't mind Jake Browning captain, but here's what I would tell you, Adam. I actually would like one of his receivers at captain more and have him in the flex. It's gonna be very hard for him to outpace Chase or Higgins or whoever might have a good game with him, right? That would be my biggest concern. I don't like Bengals 5-1, so I doubt that I meant to say that. Will the Colts win the Super Bowl with Minshew Mania? Not a fucking chance. Finally, Evan Ingram captain time? Yes, but we're not going to be the only ones on that, X-Durka. Keep running RBs against the Bengals? Yeah, but you just got to worry about ETN maybe being a little limited. That'd be my only concern. At 10,200, he's got to have a pretty good game to pay that off. Bengals played real slow with Browning last week. You lean to something sloggy? Yeah, I mean, they could, but there's also a chance they're behind and they have to pick up the pace, right? Or I like the narrative they're just going to say, fuck it, and just throw it all over the field. That's what I like. They're going to come out and say, why the hell not? 152 people in there, 111 likes. Can't believe we're getting so many people on week 14, you tryhards. Does Browning at 8,800 lower owner? By the way, on the Tambo show, I think we're going an hour later tomorrow. Surely he'll tweet that out, but I think we're an hour later tomorrow if you watch the preview show with me and Tambo every Tuesday, which will be over on Mayo Media Network. So just heads up on that. Will 5-1 Jacksonville Bills be over-owned tonight? Yes, I think so. Comment God, do you like 5-1 Jacksonville stacks with Tanner Hudson as my solo bringback? Yeah, I guess so. I could see him getting there, right? 4 catches, 60 yards, and a touchdown would almost certainly make him a good run back, right? Especially if the game's like, 27-7 or 27-10, definitely. Thoughts on playing kickers tonight? I could get there. It comes down to your narrative. I kind of like it's going to be higher scoring than people are expecting, and in scripts like that, kickers often get outpaced. But if you're buying another narrative, that it's going to be sloggy or something like that, or that the Cincinnati can only make field goals, then I think kickers are just fine. No question, but I did send an email to the editor concerning him. Let's do this. There you go, Eric. Editor, you better be checking your fucking emails. People are reaching out. I need a financial consultant. I only have 27 days left in this year. As Tanner, and I know some of you guys out there have some rich-ass jobs. I cannot believe how many of my followers are like doctors and physical therapists and lawyers and there's some of you motherfathers are rich as shit. Professional poker players, there's some crazy the people that follow me. I just assumed everybody was like me, just like slapdick high school teacher. No offense, high school teachers. I was one for 12 years, okay? All right. Mixing captain enough to get different with the Jags, with a Jag stack? Oh, definitely, especially if it's a 5-1. 4-2 Jacksonville, but a Bengals captain different enough? Probably, but not as different as you think. That would be my only concern. How much money to leave on the table if you have a 5-1 or 4-2 Bengals? I don't think, leaving 200 on the table if you're being that contrarian is fine. Is Browning prepared to rush if needed? Yeah, I mean, he might be running for his life, but he can run just a little bit. Does Browning's surname correlate with his skill set? Browning's. What, did he? I don't get it. Sorry, over my head. Mixing sneaking with dump-offs, Bob? Don't hate it, okay? Let's see. Does Pentrini always win? He does win too much. I will agree with that. I think we're about to put Pentrini on a frickin'. We're about to limit his ass, editor. Wait, hold on. Pentrini, did he ask more than 2 questions? Let's go see if we can disqualify him and do a new. All right, there was 1 question at the very start. If he asked more than 2 questions, we're going to do a new drawing. Let's see. I'm looking. Don't make me disqualify you, Pentrini. Editor, go look. Did he ask more than 2 questions? I'm not seeing another one. I think he followed the rules today. I think he followed the rules. There you go. He did. I don't see more than 2 questions. I don't see more than 2 from Mr. Petrini. Editor, you got to check that shit. We got to hold people accountable. Make sure our other winner didn't ask more than 2. I don't remember seeing Nate D's name more than twice, so he's probably fine. Let's see. Guys, just make sure you're getting a question mark in there. He didn't even cheat and he won. That's incredible. He won. The man, straight up. Pay that man his ticket. Okay. I played poker last night, guys. First time I played poker in 11 months. Look, if you're still here at 12:38, I don't give a shit. You probably just want to hear me talk, all right? So here you go. I played poker for the first time in 11 months last night, right? I get there, and there's a tournament going on, so a lot of the regulars that I normally play at the 2-5 table, that I used to play with at the 2-5 table, weren't there. And I realized within 5 or 10 minutes, this is the softest 2-5 game I've ever seen in my life. I mean, these guys, they, just like in rounders, right? Like normally the nicer the person, the worse the poker player, and these are some of the nicest motherfathers I've ever met. Spend about 45 minutes just kind of bullying people around. It's just really easy, right? They wear their hand. Like you can tell when they have aces and you can tell when they're calling you with ace 10. It's just so obvious. Get up to about $700, $500 buy-in, get up to $700. One of the guys leaves. He has to go to the strip club. And then one of the local, I think I'm a pro aggro guys sits down at the table. I've played with him before. He does not scare me. He starts bullying everybody at the table, which is fine. I'm just going to wait for my time to get in with him. And here it comes. I see he's under the gun. He bets $20. Of course, I'm the cutoff. I have aces. I pop him to 65. He then just snap raises me to 235, right? Ooh, I'm so tough. I'm the aggro guy. I'm going to come push people around. Okay. All right. I sat there, I think, for about 30 seconds. You don't want to think too long or do the, oh, I'm disgusted that I have to raise. I put him all in. And he still has 500 behind, right? He had like $700 to start the hand. And so he's like, well, I know you don't have a monster, so I guess I got to call for pot odds. I'm like, all right, well, I've got aces. He's like, well, you're ahead. Well, no shit, dipshit. The flop comes king 7 deuce of clubs. He instantly flips his hand over. He has 8-10 of clubs and runner nothing. Fucking spikes my ass. All in for $700. Aces versus 8-10 of clubs. And the I think I'm a pro aggro guy beat me. And that pisses me. I don't care that I lost a hand. I get bad beats all the time. But there's 2 big takeaways. One, it pisses me off that the aggro guy who thinks he's good at poker got it in as a 4-1 dog and got there. That pisses me off. And the second one is I realized I just don't fucking love poker, because when this happens, like, oh yeah, bad beats at DFS, I'm like, that happens. Bad beats at poker, I'm like, fuck this game, I'm out of here. So there you go. That was story time with DGen. Getting back to questions. I actually picked up a viewer telling that story. I thought I was going to lose like 20 people telling that story. 5-1 stacks in Jacksonville favor with a Hudson run back. 5-1 stack in Jacksonville favor with a Hudson run back. Yeah, I think I've already answered that. I don't mind it. Alec Atkins, don't recognize your name, new guy. Do you think Jamar captain ownership will be lower than people think? Yeah, I do. I think it's going to be really low, like probably under 7% owned, which is crazy for a guy of his talent, right? By the way, Nate D, make sure you reach out to me so we can build that lineup, bro Cephas. If you're doing 4 lineups tonight, is it smart to go one or 2 captains? Here's what I do, Adam. I would really focus on my narrative, right? What is the game type that you think it's going to be, right? And then I would come up with my player pool with that, and then I would start building lineups. And yes, I would be down to just have 1 captain in all 4 of those. But if there's one script you really like, maybe have 2 captains, right? Like maybe if you want to go with Cincinnati's going to keep up, maybe you go Browning as the captain in 1 and Chase in the captain, or Browning and the captain as 2 of them, and Chase and the captain as 2 of them, something like that, right? But I would have them all built around the same narrative. Jonathan Bowen, sup, bruh? Don't recognize your name either. You think they will force feed double tight end, double E, which is a tight end, Evan Ingram, to get him a TD. I don't think they're worried about that, but I will say that motherfucker does seem due. But here's the problem. I think everybody realizes he's due. Anthony, man, a lot of fucking new names in here. New guys. McManus, kicker, captain viable. Oh, God, I hate kickers at captain. I mean, if you think this game is going to be, let's say it's 23-7, absolutely. Absolutely, right? Jacksonville controls the game, but they're just not scoring touchdowns. They're kicking field goals. I could see that, especially if a couple of them are 40 or 50 yarders, right? Who's your pick for college football championship? Michigan. I think Michigan's going to win. I think fucking Texas got so lucky. I mean, Washington is a fraudulent team. Texas is going to beat the shit out of Washington. And then they're going to get whoever's left over from Bama and Michigan, the 2 best teams in the country. It's silly. It's just silly, okay? If building to a 3-3 script, Captain Cincinnati, how would you incorporate the solver? Well, first of all, you can tell it how to build, right? And then I would also say that I would only mark the Cincy guys as the captain. And then I would go build like 10 lineups, have it spit out what are the most optimal ones, and then go look at them each individually and see which one I like the most, right? Which one best tells my story. Brock says, game stays close with an average scoring. How can we get different with a 5-1 Jags run back position, or do you just accept the chalk? Game stays close. Well, if the game stays close, I don't know that a 5-1 build is going to be the best, right? I think if the game stays close, it'll almost certainly be a 4-2 or a 3-3 that gets there, right? That would be my rebuttal to that. I'm a stripper / babysitter / hair braid. How many of my services? Oh, wait. Are you a stripper? Are you a comment god? Are you a female? Or are you a male stripper? I could use some hair braiding. I used to rock the cornrows. I was the white guy who would show up to the basketball court with cornrows. Problem is, being white, you know how that is. They only stay in for like 2 days before they start fraying. I have no children, so I don't need a babysitter. And a stripper, no comment. No comment. But are you a female? It always baffles me whenever females watch my show. YouTube tells me that 4% of my viewers are female. I refuse to believe it. Let's see. Who runs worse? Who said that? Who runs worse? I just saw that. Yeah, go. I got to tell you, 2023 has not been a good year for running good. But I've had so many good years of run. Look, I have ran good on YouTube. Does that count? Just haven't ran well at DFS or poker. Which now I got to ask, which one would I rather run good at? It's probably, I don't know. Is it better for business to run good at DFS so I can be like a screenshot, bro? Like, hey, man, look at my screenshots for my fight. Let's see. Yeah, fuck that. I mean, look, I did the perfect 30-second think about it with the aces. I was proud of how I played them, right? You can't do the snap raise because then you're too strong. You also can't do the, oh, this is such a tough call. I guess I'll go all in because then it's also obvious you have aces. So I was pretty happy with how I played it. It was just a kick in the dick that I had to lose to that slappy. In higher stakes, do you like to play it safer with your narrative? No, I look, Chris, this is a big thing that people do incorrectly, in my opinion. Because I used to be this guy, right? When I started playing DFS and I started having success, I would play $5, $9 lineups and stuff like that. And then, maybe I'd play $100, $200 a week. Then I started playing, $500 to $1,000 a week. And I would start being like, ooh, I've got to get conservative. I think that's the worst thing you can do. I think that you play the exact same lineup. Whenever I play, let's say it's a $200 single entry, I will make that lineup be the exact same thing as a $5 single entry. I don't give a shit. If I have enough courage to put it in a $5 single entry, if it's good enough to win that contest, it's good enough to win the $200 single entry. Don't be a pussy. Don't change the way you play. If you've had success playing a certain way at $5, $9, $12 limits, and now you want to jump up and play a $200 single entry, a $1,500 single entry, whatever it is, don't change the way you play. The reason you were successful at those limits is because of the way you played. Now you move up to these new limits and you change the way you play because of the stakes. That is not who you are, and you will not find the same success. I believe bigly in this. Matter of fact, editor, let's make that the fucking let's make that, what's it called? The process tip of the week. You can use that for the newsletter, and I want it for the stream Saturday. I'm gonna go off on that. Chris with a great question, you motherfather. By the way, Chris, if neither of those guys reach out to me, or if one of those guys doesn't reach out for me to take it, I'll give it to you for asking such a damn good question, you motherfather. Let's see. Nixon Day? Wait. He rose from the dead. We Zoom about to make the same joke I am? Nixon? The president? I'm not a crook. Okay? Point Break reference. Is it a Nixon Day? I assume you mean Mixon, and I'm okay with that. We Zoom just over here tearing up the comments. A plus commenter, 157. Shit, we might get that good likes. Week 14, I thought everybody was done with fantasy football. Not so fast. Everybody said, hey, you hold on a second. Okay. That's like Bob Stoops meets Obama. That was a new one. Hi, everybody. That's like Obama, Bob Stoops. I like that. Best way to get different with Jacksonville. What the fuck is that? Microphone privacy? I don't know what I just clicked on, editor. Great question. All right. How does Jacksonville deserve to be -10? They haven't been impressive. I mean, look, they're at home. They have a lot to play for. They have their quarterback. There's a lot of things. And you got to remember, this is such a, Jared, this is the thing that people have a misconception about when it comes to lines. Everybody thinks that, like, oh, this team's a 10-point favorite. That doesn't mean that they're actually 10 points better. That just means Vegas thinks to get people to bet on 50% of each side of a line, this is what we need to set the line at, right? So Vegas is really just reflecting upon us our own reflection of what we think of the game, right? Because Vegas don't give a shit. They just want 50% of the people to bet on this side, 50% to bet on this side, and they just take the 10% juice right down the middle. That's how they make their money. They're not trying to trick you and get 80% of people to bet over here and 20 to bet over here, and then the 20% side wins and they get all this money. That's not a sustainable model for them. What's a sustainable model? You get the money equally on both sides, you take the juice down the middle. That's their business model. So just because it's a 9 or 10 point line doesn't mean that Vegas actually thinks that. That just means that they think that that's how people are going to perceive it and how people are going to bet it. Let's see. My DraftKings puts me at 350% today. Should I double down and short it to infinity? Infinity and beyond. Do you think the game will be a blowout? I don't, Drew, but you know what? I'm wrong all the time. I will say that I love contrarian narratives, and about 1 out of every 3 times I nail them, right? But if they're contrarian enough, 1 out of 3 is a good enough rate, right? It's like playing parlays. Hitting 1 out of 3 normal bets are not good, but if you can hit 1 out of every 3 parlays, that's good. How good? Good. All right, guys, I think that's it. What a show. 156 of you here, 130 likes. I appreciate all you motherfathers. What was your biggest so far this year? I don't even know what the fuck that means. Hey, guys, don't forget, Come help wanted. Remember, NASCAR, golf, financial consultant. I already have a team. Come be part of it in 2024. I could use you guys. Reach out to support DGen or the editor's email, which is in the description of this video. Do not forget to check out my site. I'm doing all kinds of giveaways to all my members. Check it out. You won't regret it. I will be live 6 o'clock tonight for the Discord members or for my website members. Be there for that, guys. We will talk about everything you need to know. I will talk to you later. Thank you all for being here. Hope you have a lovely day, and fuck poker. Enjoy this outro.